Hey everybody, welcome. It is AEW Weekly. We are no bones about wrestling. I am one of your hosts, Asa, and this is my co-host, of course, Kay Fabulous.
Hey.
Kay, thank you for being here as always. You don't have a choice though, do you?
No, I live here.
You live here. And I am anchored to this chair as we have discussed previously. I've had a hat on all day. I'm trying to get my hair look less terrible. It's not gonna happen. We're going with that. I'm going with that. All right. So welcome everyone to another episode of AEW Weekly. Hopefully you've had a good week. We've had a pretty good week. AEW had a pretty good week. Wasn't as good as last week, but it was a pretty good week for AEW.
Dynamite did well.
Yeah, Dynamite was good and did well as well. But of course, we're gonna get to all that. We're gonna talk about everything. Of course, starting off with the shows, and we're gonna start off with that, and let's get right to it. Yeah.
A little bit of a recap. Sounds good.
And of course, with the recaps, we have a new format with a show nowadays. So the recaps, I try to make them fast, not like it used to be, not as involved as it used to be. I try to be very quick with the recaps, and then we get to some of the newer segments that we do. So, all right, AEW Dynamite, January 17th, Charleston, South Carolina. And South Carolina, as we discussed, very different from North Carolina. Just so, if you haven't been to the Carolinas, just so you're straight, very different.
It's the lesser of the Carolinas.
Yeah. I mean, not to be, we don't need to offend people in South Carolina, but it's true.
How well? No, it's okay.
Well, thanks. Good. They started off with a good hype video for Samoa Joe versus Hook. That was the night's main event. And then we started off with a TNT title match. Christian put his belt on the line against Dustin Rhodes. Christian Cage, accompanied by Killswitch and Nick Wayne. Dustin Rhodes hit a crossroads, had people thinking he might win the TNT belt, but he didn't. Cage hit the kill switch, got a 2 count on Dustin only. Cage hit another kill switch, and that got him the pin and the win. Cage keeps the belt. Good match to start off Dynamite. 4 bones out of 5. Renee was with Swerve Strickland, and he said he's concentrated on the world title and that he sees no point in wrestling Hangman Page again, since he's beaten him twice already. Then they did a Battle of the Belts 9 recap, and then Renee was with Chris Jericho, who blamed Konosuke Takeshita for his and Sammy Guevara's tag team title loss. Matt Sydal comes up, he challenges Jericho for Rampage, and we have a match made for Rampage.
It was a terrible promo.
On Sydal's part.
On Sydal's part,
yeah. Then we have a tag match. International champion Orange Cassidy teams up with Trent Beretta, and they are actually accompanied by Chuck Taylor. He's back on the scene. And they take on Penta El Cerro Miedo and AAA Cruiserweight champion Commander, and they're accompanied by Alex Abrahantes and Rey Fenix, who is back on the scene after his injury. So that was cool to see Rey Fenix. Commander had a nice dive to the outside on Trent. Penta hit Made in Japan on Orange Cassidy. Got a 2 count out of that. Orange Cassidy hit an orange punch on Commander, who was then taken down by Beretta for the pin and the win. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta get the tag team win. 4 bones out of 5. Good tag team match there. After the match, Roderick Strong and the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, The Kingdom, came out. Roderick Strong challenged Orange Cassidy to an international title match at Revolution on March 3rd, which we will be at.
Yeah.
So it looks like we've got one match made official for March 3rd for Revolution. A lot of people I know already are counting Young Bucks versus Sting and Darby, and I think that one's pretty official. You know, you can count that as made. Next, Renee is with Hangman Page, who says he wants the world title. He also says Swerve seems to think about him a lot, but he doesn't think about Swerve at all. I don't know. I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if I buy it.
He drank that man's blood.
Yeah, yes, he did. Mark Briscoe comes out and he talks about his brother's death last year, Jay Briscoe, and he brings out his oldest niece, who was told she'd never walk again. She was in the same accident that killed Jay Briscoe, but she is walking. They then play a tribute video. Up next, Renee is with the Young Bucks, who now insist on being called Nicholas and Matthew Jackson. And they say they're taking their jobs and their position in AEW more seriously, and their executive vice presidencies more seriously. So they want to be Nicholas and Matthew now. Matthew talks about self-serving, cancerous superstars of yesterday that they maybe relied on a little too much. Obviously referring to CM Punk, and how, you know, that kind of fucked up the locker room atmosphere in AEW for a bit, but now they're getting back to the way things once were. Nicholas says that they'll pull some strings to face Sting March 3rd at Revolution. We then have the Ring of Honor World Six-Man title match. Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony defend their belts against Jay White and the Guns. Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony, of course, accompanied by Prince Nana. Prince Nana tried to cheat. Anthony Bowens stopped him. Jay White hit Bishop Khan with a Blade Runner. He got the pin and the win, and we have new champions. Jay White and the Guns are the new Ring of Honor six-man tag team champions. This was a good match. 4 bones out of 5.
Are you going to mention who they brought out to help celebrate with them?
I'm getting ready to.
Yeah.
The Acclaimed appear at the top of the ramp to encourage Bullet Club Gold.
That's not who I was talking about.
Oh, they brought out Cardboard Juice Robinson. Cardboard Juice Robinson.
One of the most important parts of Dynamite, we see the appearance of Cardboard Juice Robinson. Very important. Hey, Dylan.
So yeah, hopefully Cardboard Juice Robinson. Hopefully we see more out of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We then had an Adam Cole and Wardlow promo. Or it was mostly an Adam Cole promo with Wardlow standing there. Cole brags on Wardlow, saying he'll win the world title and it will be, quote, the property of the Undisputed Kingdom. Toni Storm came down to do commentary on Deonna Purrazzo versus Anna Jay. This was a decent match, surprisingly. Nothing against Purrazzo. I just mean Anna Jay being in the match. Usually she stinks the place up. But Purrazzo put on the Venus de Milo and got the submission win. Nothing great here. This 3 bones out of 5. You can only do so much with Anna Jay. She's not very good.
Toni Storm's commentary was great. That was a 5 out of 5.
Yeah. After the match, Purrazzo tells Storm that she's an excellent technical wrestler and she's going to take away Toni's world title. Toni then gets atop Luther's shoulders. Can't read my own writing. And then she casts a derisive promo in return and throws her shoe at Purrazzo. Storm leaves atop Luther and exclaiming, "How dare she?" In reference to Purrazzo on her way out.
She actually gives both shoes to Mariah May so that Mariah May can throw them at Deonna Purrazzo. So she has another minion doing her bidding.
Yeah, I like the little stable there with Toni Storm, Mariah May, and Luther very much. Yeah. We then have a nice tag team match with Private Party against Top Flight. This was a good match here. Mark Quinn went flying outside on each Top Flight member twice. I mean, he went back and forth. One here, one there. One here, one there. Pretty cool spot. I mean, he caught them before they could really get to their senses. That's how they explain the spot. They weren't just standing there letting him hit them. He hit Dante Martin with a 450 splash for a 2 count only. Marquin pinned Darius while grabbing the middle rope, and it was unclear if this was an intentional move or if Marquin meant to cheat. But Private Party did win the match by cheating here.
I think it was intentional.
It looked intentional to me.
They bring it up in a later promo.
Looked intentional to me. Very good match, but 4 bones out of 5. Up next, we had a Sting and Darby Allin promo/hype video. Darby claims that he and Sting will win the AEW World Tag Team titles, which is just kind of how I see them going out with Sting's retirement, going out in a blaze of glory with the World Tag Team titles at Revolution. Then it's time for our main event. FTW champion Hook getting his shot at Samoa Joe's AEW World title. Joe threw Hook out of the fucking ring to begin with the match. Joe then hit a Uranagi on Hook through the announcer's table and then powerbombed Hook onto the ring apron. It's a pretty brutal way to start the match. Hook makes a comeback, though, and actually T-bone suplexes Samoa Joe. Hook then goes for the red rum, but Joe gets out of it, locks in the coquina clutch, and defeats Hook by knockout to retain his title. This is a good match. Samoa Joe beat his ass, as we all saw, but Hook, stuck in there and got in some offense of his own, and it was an exciting match. They really built it up well. It was a well-built match and a well-played match by the two competitors. 4 bones out of 5. Very good match by them. After the match, Hook got up and asked, "Is that all you got?" And Joe grabbed him and hit another muscle buster on him. And after that, Hook got up again and tells Joe to bring it. And he's lucky that Hangman Page came out, and so did Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana. And that's pretty much how Dynamite ended, was in a face-off. It looks like we're headed towards a triple threat for the world title at Revolution with Joe, Swerve, and Hangman.
I'm not mad about that. That seems like that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. All right, up next, AEW Collision, January 20th in St. Louis. And one thing I want to note before we start here, they had video screens on the sides of the ring and on the barriers between the fans and the outside of the ring. That was pretty cool, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was awesome.
Step up in the presentation for AEW there.
A big step up, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Made a big difference in how things looked for them. Up first on Collision, Jon Moxley versus Shane Taylor, accompanied by Lee Moriarty. Moriarty interfered early with a pump kick. Moxley, however, won by knockout, put Shane Taylor in a chokehold and knocked him out. Good match, 4 bones out of 5 here.
Can I ask you a question real quick about this match?
Sure.
Is Jon Moxley also doing open challenges? Is that how we got Moxley versus Shane Taylor, or this is just a match that was assigned?
I don't think so. I think it was just a Tony Khan random booking match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mox takes the mic after the match and says he's pissed and isn't taking crap from anyone in 2024. So he seemed to mean it, and he was looking good. Looked very good. We get a Samoa Joe versus Hook highlight package. And then we get the Cope Open. And this week, the man who answers the call is Dante Martin, taking on Adam Copeland. We get a nice Hurricane Rana from the ring apron to the outside by Dante. We get an avalanche powerbomb by Dante. Copeland spears Martin out of midair and then puts on the grindhouse for the submission win, and that is the end of the match. Good match. Adam Copeland picks up the win. 4 bones out of 5. Good match between these two.
Did you say what your match of the night was for Dynamite?
I did not say what my match of the night was for Dynamite. Let me take a look back. Match of the night for Dynamite. You know, I'll go with Samoa Joe and Hook. You know, it was an interesting enough match. I'll give it match of the night. I was so interested to see what they did. They got me, so I'll give it match of the night.
Very cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just realized that we had.
No, that's fine. So back to Collision. 4 bones out of 5 for Copeland versus Martin. Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli are with Lexi Nair. They pretty much say that Continental Champion Eddie Kingston is not on their level. They face him and Ortiz in a tag team main event on Collision. Lexi Nair is then with Top Flight and Action Andretti. Private Party show up. Top Flight challenged Private Party to a rematch since they cheated to win the match on Dynamite. Up next, we have Thunder Rosa versus Queen Aminata. Pretty good match here. Rosa hit a Tijuana bomb for the pin and the win. 3.5 bones out of 5. Good match between these two. Nice to see both of them getting regular work on the shows.
This was Thunder Rosa's first singles match since she's been back.
First singles match since 2022. Jay White and the Guns come out. They brag about how good they are, and Jay White says he feels as though something is missing. Austin Gunn retrieves Cardboard Juice Robinson from beneath the ring. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass come out, and they convince Bullet Club Gold to begin the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. And so history is made.
Super Faction.
Or, as I wanted them to call it, Bullet Club Pink.
That doesn't rhyme.
Well,
rhyming always wins.
Next, we're shown a segment from Dynamite backstage with Women's World Champion Toni Storm, Luther, and Mariah May. Storm admits she does remember who Deonna Purrazzo is, says she's going to beat her and maybe eat her. Up next, Buddy Matthews, accompanied by Malachi Black and Brody King of the House of Black, takes on Daniel Garcia, accompanied by FTR. Matthews hit a pile driver on the apron on Garcia. Matthews hit a running knee strike, tries to powerbomb Garcia, who reverses it into a match-winning pin, and Daniel Garcia comes up with the win. Very good match. 4.5 bones out of 5. This was the match of the night on Collision. Garcia over Matthews. Up next, Roderick Strong, accompanied by the Kingdom, taking on Matt Sydal. Several nice Hurricane Ranas throughout the match by Sydal. He's always good in the ring. Strong hits the end of Heartache for the pin and the win. Good match, 4 bones out of 5. Roderick Strong picks up the win for the Undisputed Kingdom. Up next, the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson took on Continental Champion Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. Danielson hit the Bosico knee on Ortiz for the pin and the win. 4 bones out of 5. And after the match, Danielson spat in Eddie Kingston's face.
Gross.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. So that's set up for Dynamite 2 days from now. Penta El Cerro Miedo versus Hangman Page. Jeff Hardy versus Swerve Strickland. Wardlow versus Trent Beretta. The Acclaimed putting their World Trios belts up against the Mogul Embassy. and Minoru Suzuki versus Adam Copeland. So it sounds like a pretty damn good show for Dynamite.
And there's a cage match on Collision.
Yeah, and there's a cage elimination match coming up on Collision with, who is it?
It's with the House of Black, all 3 members of the House of Black versus FTR and Daniel Garcia.
Yeah, that sounds like that's going to be an awesome match on Collision. So what do we have next, Kay?
Next up, we have our closer look.
Yeah, this is a new segment, a closer look. So each week we take a closer look at a superstar. Well, that's WWE, isn't it? A closer look at a wrestler. And this week we're taking a closer look at Hook. And so to begin, Kay, I haven't heard your thoughts. What did you think of Hook's shot at the world title this week?
I thought he did a pretty decent job. I know you feel like the match was kind of one-sided. I didn't quite see it.
It was very one-sided, yeah.
I didn't see it that way. I feel like Hook got a lot in on Joe. Not like a ton, but more than I expected him to. More than most people who have been in the ring with Joe can get on him, you know? Joe does a lot of squash matches, and I feel like this was far from a squash match. Especially when he got him up in that T-bone suplex, you know, that he got him up. That was super impressive. I like Hook. I've always liked Hook, and this made me like Hook even more.
All right. And I think a lot of people felt that way. You know, the ratings were up for this week. They were up big for Dynamite. And of course, you know, a lot of the explanation has to go to Hook. They did a good job promoting this match. It was promoted well on social media. You know, of course, the back and forth. We won't go into all that stuff, but the back and forth promoted it very well, and had a lot of people ready to see what happened in this match, and myself included. I was very interested to see how they pulled it off, and they didn't do what I wanted. And I'm not one of those wrestling fans that when they don't do what I want, I'm like, oh, it sucked, you know. I'm not like that. I can still enjoy things. In fact, I like it when they sometimes when they don't do what I want, because then a lot of times I'm surprised.
What did you want?
Well, what I wanted personally, I wanted to see a good competitive match. I want to see, you know, big man versus small man match. You know, Hook using.
Like
No, I don't think we got a competitive match. No.
It
was a glorified squash match, basically.
I disagree.
Oh, you're wrong. But, like I said, I don't have to get what I want to be satisfied, you know. That's immature to be that way. And like I said, it's good to be surprised, you know, in wrestling. You know, that's fun. If you got what you wanted or expected all the time, that would be boring. But so a lot of people expected it to be more of a fight. But a lot of people still loved the match and really enjoyed the match, and especially enjoyed Hook's fighting spirit. And that's what came out of it, that kind of that Japanese fighting spirit. Staying with the fight, staying in the match, whatever Joe did, you know, taking it and not giving up, you know, and that's what people see in Hook, and that's what they really like about the character, and that really came out in this match. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, well, they even extended it beyond the match itself, right? Because after the match was when Joe was hitting him, and he just kept asking for more. So yeah, I think they definitely hammered that view home.
So here's the thing. We've got, you know, Hook's made all these waves on social media, on the internet. I mean, here's the talk of the IWC, you know, last week and still kind of this week. They have to capitalize on this, you know, now. They have to do something with him now. This can't be the Tony Khan start a push and stop it kind of thing that he does. You know, he has to do something with Hook now. So that's the question as we take a closer look at Hook is what if you're Tony Khan and you've got Hook, you've got him with his FTW title, this, for lack of a better term, this made up title, made up by his father, this made up title. What do you do with Hook to make sure the momentum keeps going and Hook stays over and gets more over?
Well, see, it's hard because I feel like his sudden rise came at an inopportune time because right now all three belts, other belts in the men's division, have people gunning for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like having him treat the FTW title like how Orange Cassidy, during his first reign, treated the international title would be good. Like, just every week, no matter what, Hook's going to have a match. It's going to be FTW. He's going to defend his belts.
Mm-hmm.
And just watch him go through a barrage of people, which is kind of your idea, which I stole because I didn't have an idea and I thought your idea was good. So credit to Asa for that idea. But like real FTW matches, not the FTW match that we saw with him and Yuta. That was just like
pitiful.
PG video game level violence. It was
well.
awful.
What I said was that match with Yuta that was supposedly FTW rules. I said it was like a video game match where like the weapons were turned on, but the player didn't know what button picked up the weapons. I mean, I'd never seen a less hardcore match in my life. That was a pitiful display between those two.
I don't know. Maybe that WWE Terry Funk hardcore match. That's a close tie.
Whoever was in that,
Yeah.
I remember that. Whoever was in that, I remember it was pitiful. Go ahead, continue though. With what you were saying.
That was the end of my thought.
That was the end of your thought.
Yeah, I want real hardcore matches. I want him to defend it weekly. I want him to just like annihilate. Like his record is already phenomenal. He's like what 28-2 now, I think.
I think he's like 29-2. I'm not quite sure.
It's 28.
Could be 28.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Either way, it's a really good record.
Yeah.
But I like to see him just inflate it and keep going. I know that we have several guys plowing through people right now, but I think one more wouldn't hurt. There's a lot of people on the roster he can plow through.
Mm-hmm. Like whom? Like who are some guys you would have Hook face? Because he needs some wins over some established talent. Some real talent.
Well, I was thinking Yuta in a rematch, but like a real hardcore match. Like I feel like they need to redeem themselves. So I know it's kind of odd to give him a rematch, but I feel like they need it.
Yeah.
Because of how not good that match was.
I would agree with that.
Just get the bitter taste out of our mouths. I mean, and some bigger guys like, I'm going to save the one I was going to say because that's for the Eddie discussion later. I don't know, maybe like bigger guys like Claudio even, like I want him to go against some big names and have victories because a lot of his victories have been like B to C level,
like C level. Oh, yeah. No, it's like C level. Not even
yeah.
B. There's been like C level guys. Yeah.
So yeah, like that mid card, like maybe a Matt Hardy, Jeff Jarrett. I feel like there's some of the older veterans, because he's wrestled primarily like younger people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be good. What about you?
Yeah, I mean that sounds good. Mostly because you stole all your ideas from me when we were talking about it.
Yep, that's why we shouldn't talk about things ahead of time. We're just gonna steal all your good ideas.
But yeah. Him beating we don't need to talk too much more about it. Him beating established talent is what needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to start happening now. B-level talent. And being in tag matches helps too, but I'm talking singles matches against B-level talent and beating the guys. Like people like Trent Beretta is one who could stand a loss to Hook, you know, and it would be a good match, and he could take a loss to Hook, and he'd be fine. It's fine, you know. People like that.
Mm-hmm.
And even maybe some of the A guys, at some point. Maybe some of the A guys. I don't know. It's a question of how far do you go with him, really. Because people love him. People love him. But he's just very tiny.
So small.
He's so tiny. So how far do you take it, That's the thing.
Well, they had, what's the guy's name? Graham? Joshua Graham? Is that someone? Jonathan Graham? As like the world heavyweight champion in
Ring of Honor?
Ring of Honor?
No, it wasn't Graham. No.
What was his name?
I forget his name.
But he's tiny.
Jonathan
Gresham?
It's like Gresham or something like that.
Anyway, he's very tiny, and he made it all the way to world heavyweight champion when he's like definitely not a heavyweight.
Yeah, but he's not Hook tiny. Hook has a very slim frame.
But Hook has that like
Hook has
dog with a bone to pick. Like, like he's like champing at the bit to get at his opponents. And that really comes across in his wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that makes up for his size. He's like scrappy in like the best way possible.
Yep. No, I agree. So it'll be interesting to see how far Tony Khan goes with him. He could make him a world champion, and it would be totally fine, I think. Mm-hmm. Honestly.
Yeah.
A lot of people would cry foul, I think, because he's so tiny. He would be the tiniest world champion in history besides Rey Mysterio. Besides Rey Mysterio. Yeah. But I think it would be fun, and people love that character, and people love that kid. So no, it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. But whatever happens, it has to happen now. Tony Khan has to stay on it now, and has to happen now, and start now. Now.
Well, I think it's definitely not starting now because Hook doesn't have a match listed for Dynamite yet.
Wah, wah. Yeah. Already failing. Already failing.
Collision. I've never seen him on Collision.
Already failing. You got to follow up, man. Mm-hmm. What pops the ratings one week, have the motherfucker on the next week. How hard is that? I don't understand his booking a lot of the time. You draw several, you draw 100-some thousand more viewers one week because of somebody. And then he's not even on the fucking show the next week.
We'll get into the exact numbers when we get to the news.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Bizarre.
Well, I feel like he's one of those guys that's I have a plan. And then he sticks to his plan. And nothing in the outside world will alter that,
Well, you need to let the TV ratings alter your shit. Because that's what it's... that's what it's about, He may already have another TV deal, in which case he may be just fine. So I don't know. But if he doesn't, he needs to be worrying about the TV ratings very much. So.
Well, Warner Brothers Discovery said that they were very pleased with AEW's ratings. Remember during that press release from last week? Or the week before?
Yeah. But what are they going to say? They're shitty?
Well, you don't have to say anything in a press release about them,
Yeah, but I'm saying, what are they going to say? They're shitty. All right, anyway. Let's move on. But Hook, Tony Khan, like I said, already failing. And I love Tony Khan. But he's already failing by not capitalizing on Hook's draw of last Wednesday, by not having him on Dynamite. Not scheduled, at least. Not announced for Dynamite.
Yeah, I don't get how people don't like Tony Khan. Did they not realize that he brought us and made possible
so much joy.
One of my favorite things in the world?
So much joy.
And I get it 3 times a week instead of just once a week.
Yeah, and I mean, the boss who's like brought to wrestlers like better working conditions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, and that he pays for their lodging and their travel and shit, and treats them more like employees than
people.
What?
I said treats them like people.
More like people than like cattle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next we have one of our newer segments. It's called "Where's This Going?" where we take a look at several segments from TV this past week, and then we ask the question, "Where's this going?" It's okay. Do you want
to? Sure.
Who's gonna?
You want me to do it?
You can introduce the first one.
Okay, so Swerve says he has no reason to face Adam Page again. I tend to agree with him. He's 2-0 against him. What could motivate him to face Adam Page again, other than giving Page the title?
What could motivate Swerve to face Adam Page again?
Yeah, to motivate him to want to face him again, since he's already beaten him twice. Short of giving him the AEW World Heavyweight title from Joe, what's going to get us that third match?
Well, you would think it's kind of strange because you would think that Hangman being down 2-0, he'd be pissed off about it. But he came on and said, "I don't think about Swerve." So we're kind of at a strange point.
Yeah, I don't believe him that he doesn't think about Swerve.
Yeah,
Swerve broke into his house and was like at it with his baby.
Yeah, where you think the answer would be, Hangman needs to come to Swerve's house, break in the middle of the night, and just fuck him up.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if Swerve wants a third match or not.
Mm.
That's tends to be my answer.
So how do you do that with keeping Page a face?
I think the fans would stick with him. I think with Swerve breaking into his home and harassing his child, I think the fans would be down with Hangman breaking into his house and attacking him. I think the fans would still be down with Hangman, yeah.
I feel like they need to do like a recap video package or something to refresh people's memories, because that was a while ago at this point. Like for him to like have that level of retaliation and having waited so long.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some sort of recap at some point, yeah. But not to make it too obvious that, that they're getting ready to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my first thought, is to, eye for an eye type revenge.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that they're going to put the belt on Page, and that's why they did this interview with Swerve?
I really don't. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not to say they couldn't. Of course they could. I just really don't. I really feel like Swerve is going to get the belt.
Straight from Joe.
I feel like it.
I thought maybe they would give it to Hangman just to have Swerve take it from him. But
I think that's a little too much hot potato with the world title, you know. I don't think they want to switch their world title so many times like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
they saw what it did to the TNT belts. It's not a good idea.
Yeah. But I don't know if Swerve is going to win the world title at Revolution. I think he'll get a shot at Revolution. I don't know if he'll win it at Revolution. I don't know if Joe's reign will be that short.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it could be, but I don't know if it will be.
Was Hook his first defense?
Yes.
So we got 1 month in a few days to get some more defenses in. So it wouldn't be too embarrassing to lose it at Revolution necessarily. So do you think it's likely, like we said, it's probably going to be a 3-way match at Revolution. So do you think if Joe retains, Swerve will demand a one-on-one match, and that would be where he wins it from Joe?
I think
If he weren't?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
But I want to see Swerve win the belts.
Yeah. But I have a feeling that's where they're going. I think Swerve's been so good in the ring, and people are so interested in his character, whether they're booing him or a lot of people are cheering him, despite the fact that he's a heel. He's drawing attention, whether it's face or heel heat. He's an intriguing character, and he'd be an intriguing character to have the belt on for sure. He's always got some machinations going on.
Back it up and define the word machinations for me.
He's got shit going on.
Okay.
He has things in the works for for somebody that he's trying to fuck with.
Yeah.
So that would make for an entertaining champion, because he wouldn't be champion and be on, resting on his laurels. I don't think so. He wouldn't be satisfied. He would still be wanting to fuck with people like he does. He likes fucking with people. So he would still be kind of on the chase, but he'd be on the chase of who am I going to fuck with next? Instead of having challengers find him, he'd be finding challengers, I think. So it'd be an interesting change for the champion. And I think that's how they would do it. That's how they should do it if he wins it, I feel like. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. Kind of. Wait, hold on. Yes. Yes. You answered the question.
We're still going to move on.
Okay.
What's the next one?
I'm glad we're getting a Revolution match booked so early with Strong versus Cassidy. But I'm used to only having 2 weeks max as notice between the announcement and the match. What are they going to do to keep the story alive between now and March 3rd?
Yeah, so international title match, Orange Cassidy defending against Roderick Strong at Revolution. Pretty exciting. Should be a darn good match. I could see a really good match. Maybe steal the show type match between those two.
I don't know about that. If we get Joe versus Swerve versus Paige,
maybe steal the show match between those two. But yeah, how to keep it interesting? It's tough with Cassidy because he's always too cool for everything. So it is kind of tough. How do you get at him? How do you really get at him? That's what they've got to figure out. The Undisputed Kingdom
through his friends.
Yeah, there you go.
So you've got a whole crew of best friends, and they're even called the Best Friends.
Yeah.
So mess with them.
There you go. And we've got plenty of time.
Dander up, We
got plenty of time. So I think that's how you keep it interesting and keep the heat up. This week you take down Chuck Taylor with his injured ankle. He's still in a cast or whatever it is,
I think you go all in and you go after Chris.
You go after Chris Statlander. Yeah. Her too, yeah. And Trent Beretta. Who else is in that? Rocky Romero.
Danhausen sometimes.
Danhausen is definitely part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take fuck all of them up. Yeah. I think that is the answer. Yeah. The type of attacks maybe that we saw with the devil. We're seeing people going through windows and getting suplexed on car windshields and shit like that. I think that would be an interesting way to keep the heat on Orange Cassidy, and that's the only way you're going to get under his collar, really, is to go after his friends, like you said.
Yeah. So
I think that's a good answer.
Another way, sew all the pockets shut on his pants. Zing. Got him.
Yeah, but for real, go after his friends.
Yeah.
Yes. So all the pockets shut on his pants. But yeah, go after
Take
his
away his
friends.
superpower.
Go after his friends. Yeah, definitely. That's good. Good answer.
Thanks. You are in charge of the next one.
What is the
It's
next
right
one?
here.
Oh, yeah.
Ready?
Okay, so here, let me read it. You have it written down a certain way.
Yeah.
So yeah, we love that that Nicholas and Matthew Jackson are leaning into the whole slime ball EVP angle. But where's this going? And specifically, really, we want to know where's this going. I think in regards to Sting, yeah.
I kind of meant in general, but in
In
regards
general?
to Sting too, yeah.
Okay.
Because like they've had heel runs before,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like they're trying to go all in on the heel angle, whereas like before they were kind of like silly with it.
Yeah.
But this feels like they're trying to just like dive in, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess my thinking, one, with the Sting match, how do they...
Well, without Sting, where do you think it's going? Without Sting being involved.
Well, I think that they need to establish themselves as like almost Don Callis level slimy.
Yeah.
So like what I would love to see is for them to start like booking dream matches on AEW, like paper level dream opponents facing each other matches, and then have like one guy get introduced and his music starts and he goes down to the ring. And right before the music hits, or even as the music hits for that next competitor, the one who's going to like make the dream match come true, there's like a record scratch and they start playing the Young Bucks music and they pull the EVP card and they're like, we're going to face him instead. It's going to be a handicap match, just to like crush everyone's dreams.
Like what kind of match?
Well, I mean, this one is one that already happened, but I'm thinking of like a Bryan Danielson, Zack Sabre Jr. kind of match, or like Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay 3. Like, Finally we're getting that match. Kenny's miraculously all better. Will's finally coming to AEW. We're going to get the rubber match. Will's in the ring waiting. And then, when Kenny's Omega's music starts, Young Bucks hits, and out strut those terrible mustaches, That
would be a great way to get heat.
Yeah.
I mean, that would piss people off for sure.
It would inflame them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
But oh my God, could you? Jeez.
Can you get over it?
Can you? it would piss you off. It would really like piss people off at the company, even though. So I don't even know if you could really do that.
What if afterwards they established that like at the next pay-per-view that match will happen? Oh, but the people who are in the audience, oh my God, can you imagine if you thought you were... Well, no, like don't advertise the match ahead of time. Like, I guess you would have to, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd have to or it doesn't work.
Yeah. How do you do that without making people legitimately hate you forever?
Of course, subject to change.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my God. Can you imagine buying tickets to go see like...
You got to give them something really good.
Yeah.
Somewhere else on the show.
Yeah.
You got to give them something really good. It's a good idea. You just got to figure out how to pull it off without ruining your credibility with the fans. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so in relation to Sting, where is it going?
I have no idea. I was hoping you could come up with some stuff for that for me.
Well, from everything we've read, Sting requested the Young Bucks as his last match, because he and Darby, he wanted to go out as a tag team with Darby. Mm-hmm. He's 65 now, I think, so he doesn't want to go out he doesn't want a singles match. I think he's not quite in shape, in condition enough, young enough to do a singles match. He doesn't feel anymore, not to do one the way he wants to. Mm-hmm. So that's why he's been a tag team wrestler in AEW. So he wanted to go out with Darby. So he looked around and tried to figure the best opponents, and he said the Young Bucks have got to be. And, he may be right.
Wouldn't you be so honored
Oh,
if
yeah.
you were the Young Bucks?
Jesus
Oh, my
Christ.
God.
Yeah, what an honor.
Yeah.
I would be so nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what an honor. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Truly. To be handpicked by Sting, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, he could have picked someone, people from Japan, somebody from the Indies,
Yeah.
Somebody from Mexico. And they could have tried to make it happen, really. But.
So you mentioned earlier, you think that Sting and Darby are going to leave with the belts. Do you think they're going into this match with the belts? Or do you think the Young Bucks are going to have the belts somehow and they're going to beat the Young Bucks for the belts?
Here's what I think happens. The way I think they should do it is, we have the Young Bucks, Nicholas and Matthew come in and they're laying down the law. They're the EVPs and they're going to force their way into this and that. So we have them force their way into a tag title match with Big Bill and Ricky Starks. And they beat Big Bill and Ricky Starks, win the tag titles, maybe even with some stipulation, some self-serving stipulation. I'm not sure what.
You can only win by multiple super kicks to the face.
I'm not sure what.
Yeah.
Give me a minute on that. But yes, so they win the titles from Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and they take the belts into Revolution as the heels. And they want to face Sting and Darby Allin. So then they're the champions, and they're like mocking, Sting, and telling him he's never going to win the belts. Never going to have another belt again. You think on your way out you're going to win a belt? No, get real, this and that and all that stuff. And so no, of course the night ends with Sting and Darby Allin winning the belts, victorious, holding the belts aloft. You got to have Sting, the ultimate hero in wrestling, the ultimate nice guy in wrestling, from pretty much all stories. There are a couple things in his past, where everybody makes mistakes, but by most stories, pretty much the best guy who's ever been in the wrestling biz. At least the best guy at this level who's ever been in the wrestling business. So you got to reward the guy on the way out. I traditionally, when you leave the wrestling business, you lose, with very few exceptions. The Undertaker was an exception. Of course, he buried AJ Styles alive and murdered his two friends, Gallows and Anderson.
That wasn't his final match.
Yeah, it was.
No, wasn't he left his boots and his hat in the ring at WrestleMania?
No, it was the graveyard match.
That was his final match.
What they call it? The boneyard match.
Brawl.
Boneyard match.
No. Okay.
Boneyard match. That was his final match. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that was his final match. No, you're thinking of what we thought was his final match because he did that, but it turned out not to be. That was years earlier. Earlier, babe.
I have no concept of time.
No, you don't.
Established.
But so Undertaker did it, and I guess he kind of deserved to do it, or whatever. But Sting definitely deserves to go out winning, I think. So let him. And I'm sure it'll go as Sting wants. If he wants to win, he'll win. If he wants to lose, he'll lose. He might even have to be talked into winning, Who knows?
Well, my favorite part about your idea is what happens afterwards. Because if what you plan happens, that means we get a tournament for the tag titles.
Yeah.
And we've been getting so much singles wrestling in the limelight. I would love to have like a really solid tag tournament for the belts.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
that would be fun to have a tag team tournament. Get to showcase the tag teams in AEW again. Of course, the Young Bucks would force themselves into it, and then you'd see probably maybe the Acclaimed, maybe you'd see the Kingdom insert themselves into it.
I want to see a series of matches.
Private Party, Top Flight.
I want to see a series of matches that qualifies you for the final, which is a 4-way ladder match. That's what I want.
Jeez. You want to see everybody break their ankles?
That was a table incident, not a ladder incident, I'll have you know. But no, I don't want anyone to get hurt. I just love ladder matches.
Yeah. They're fun.
So fun.
They are fun. That's true.
Plus, with the tag teams they have in AEW, it would be awesome.
I just don't like people getting hurt.
Well, I don't like people getting hurt either. And again, that was a table. We're talking about Dante Martin's injury, of course, where his foot goes on backwards. It was a table, not a ladder.
But anyways,
yeah.
But yeah, that's my idea. In short, the Young Bucks force themselves in, win the belts, talk shit to Sting and Darby, put the belts on the line at Revolution, lose the belts. Sting and Darby go out as winners. It's beautiful. That's a good storyline to me. And then the belts are vacated because Sting retired. So it's all for just one night of glory. Why not? Who gives a fuck? Who cares? And then the belts are vacated, and then we do a tournament. Maybe Darby picks a new partner, and then, like I said, we get the teams we mentioned before, and really get to showcase AEW's tag teams, and maybe end up with some new tag teams. Who knows? But,
I'd like Darby's new partner to be?
Who?
Jimmy Havoc.
Well, I think he might be. I'm not 100% sure. I think there might be some accusations of things against him.
Oh.
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
If there were or not. I didn't hear any.
What makes you think that?
Because
I thought he was in rehab.
Well, he did go to rehab, but then he never came back. That's why I think that.
Oh.
I think that he may have checked himself into rehab at the time because there might have been some allegations of some impropriety.
Oh.
And then he never came back because of that. I'm not sure. I should look into that. We should look into that.
Yeah.
But I think that may be why he never came back. But I really don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, well, then maybe not Jimmy Havoc.
Yeah.
That's a shame. I like him.
All right. So next, where is this going? Our next
up, Wardlow is going to run through opponent after opponent, according to him, or actually according to Adam Cole, till he gets to the AEW champion. How do you do this without making it too similar to Adam Copeland, running through opponent after opponent in his storyline, starting at the bottom and working his way up, trying to get the TNT title?
That's
That
tough.
is the question.
That's tough, isn't it?
Yeah. They have two people with essentially the same story-ish, or at least the same plan to get to their goal,
But we have Copeland running through kind of the C-listers and B-listers to get to the secondary title, whereas we have Wardlow who wants to get to the number one title.
So you think he's just going to start with A-level guys?
Shouldn't he have to?
Have we ever seen Wardlow have a match against an A-level guy?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I feel like he needs like a few B's in his pocket. We haven't seen him wrestle in so long.
Yeah, he hasn't had a match lately.
Yeah, so I feel like get him some B-level guys first, like higher B-level guys, but B-level guys, to then warrant the A-level matches. I don't know. I know. Adam Copeland said he was going to claw his way up the ladder or whatever. But I feel like Wardlow's going to have to crawl his way up the ladder to like warrant him getting a world title.
Mm.
not anything against Wardlow, but like character-wise and match-wise, he's just had so many squash matches that I feel like he's not there yet. You know, like, have we seen him go for any length of time?
Yeah, I mean, are they going to have Santos stopping by to say hello?
Hey, Santos.
Are they going to have Wardlow, beat, you should stay. Are they going to have Wardlow, beat Hangman Page? Are they going to have Wardlow beat Swerve Strickland?
Yeah.
I mean, these are the kind of, contenders we're talking about him needing to beat to be a contender.
Yeah. He better come up with some more moves.
Do we really see that? I mean, is that what's going to happen? That's what's going to happen. Those are the people he's going to have to beat to legitimize himself.
Or is he just going to fail in his attempt and rage Adam Cole? Adam Cole will eventually be well enough to be able to be like, well, screw you, Wardlow. I'm going to go after it myself now.
He has to succeed in his attempts.
So you think Wardlow is going to get the world title?
I think Wardlow is going to get the world title. Yes, I do.
Just a reminder, Bryan Danielson has never had that world title.
Yeah.
You think Wardlow is going to get that world title?
I do. Yep. Yes, I do.
I have feelings about that. And again, I don't dislike Wardlow. I just don't. He is not there yet.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Not in the ring, not on the mic, not there.
Yeah, I think maybe he might be the one to get it from Swerve, maybe. I don't know.
That would piss me off.
Yeah, that pissed me off too, but that's kind of what I feel.
They better wait a long time before they do that. And better make him look like a shining star, like the hottest thing alive, before they let him do that.
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time we saw him wrestle? Seriously.
No, I don't remember.
It's been months, hasn't it? Like,
No, it's been a little bit, yeah.
That match where he had the hood on and then came out and had a match with his hair messed up. That was the last time we saw him wrestle.
Yeah.
So like November?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care for it.
So yeah, they're gonna have to give him wins over, yeah, like we said, A-list guys, like your Hangman Pages, like your Swerve Stricklands. If Joe loses the belt, like your Samoa Joes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe give him a win over, somebody like Miro, Powerhouse Hobbs, to establish him against the big men. You're going to have to put him up against talent because he's just been having squash matches and shit. And that's not getting it over how much of a monster he is or how much of a talent he is, either one. So, yeah, they're going to have to change it up and get it going. Yeah. And so who knows when they're going to start trying to convince us of that he's a talented monster.
Mm-hmm.
Because they haven't started yet. So it seems like soon. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We have one more topic. Do we have time for one more topic, or should we save it to next week?
I think we can do it.
All right. We got the Bang Bang Scissor Gang Superfection.
Bullet Club Pink.
No one is calling it that. Stop it. So now what? Vengeance, and then what?
Yeah. So what? Yeah. So the question. I guess the first question is, will they be able to extract vengeance? Even there's how many of them? There's 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Against how many in the Undisputed Kingdom?
Well, there's 4.5.
There's 4 and an injured Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Plus, however many of those other guys under hoods.
Are they just pretending like those people don't exist?
For now, they are, but at the drop of a dime, they could say,
mm-hmm.
"Hey, they're back. They're still here."
Yeah.
So, I don't think you can write them out of the plot just yet.
You know what they could do?
What?
we didn't mention it in your recap of wrestling this week, but we saw like locker room emptying run-in by like 20 different wrestlers to break up a fight.
Oh, how did I not mention that?
I don't know. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was exciting.
But it could be like we get the Bang Bang Scissor Gang cornering the Undisputed Kingdom in the ring, and then all of a sudden the Undisputed Kingdom's music hits for some reason, and they're like, what's happening? And then like 20 more guys come out and take on the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Not 20, that's too many, but a lot. And they get them. No. I love the run-in. I want to see more run-ins.
Yeah?
Like a locker room emptying run-in.
Well, locker room emptying brawls are one of my favorite things in wrestling, definitely.
This is like the first one I've ever seen in AEW.
Yeah, it's a fun thing.
Yeah.
I love when everyone just runs down in their street clothes and just fights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. But back to the question. So let's say they do get their vengeance. And what, to destroy the Undisputed Kingdom? Your question was, then what?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Well, I guess, one, how are they going to get their vengeance?
Okay,
like,
that's the biggest question. That's the big question.
Belts? Make them lose matches? I mean, like, what are they going to do? They're also the faces. So, like, how do you seek vengeance as a face without looking like too much of a dick, you know?
Yeah. Well, and the answer is it's wrestling, so you got to just make them lose matches, you know? You can't be out to hurt them because then you look like a jerk.
Oh, and you know what? With the rankings coming back, that's going to really help. Because, like, now it's going to matter. Like, you're making it so I can't move up in the rankings to, like, get to that number one contender spot for the AEW Heavyweight Champion if they, like, mess up Wardlow's matches, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be helpful, I think, in vengeance seeking.
You're hoping for a lot of rivalries based on rankings and numbers.
I like numbers. I'm a science teacher.
I really hope they don't lean on that too much.
I'm not saying too much, but I mean, if someone prevents you from being the number one contender and getting your rematch or your dream match or whatever, whether there's rankings or not, that's going to be upsetting.
Well, number one contender, that's a whole different thing. I don't want us to be expected to care about the fight between who's number 16 and 17, you know?
Well, yeah. No, I'm talking about...
Or number 12 and 13.
Mm-hmm.
Battling for that number 12, that coveted number 12 spot. You know?
I don't think Tony's going to do that. He didn't do that when he had them before, did he? I don't remember.
Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit.
Like that low on the rankings? He would
just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Hmm.
That's the thing. You gotta have stories, you know.
Yeah.
It can't just be about the fucking the rankings. I like the rankings. Don't get me wrong. I like the rankings. I think it's neat. I mean, we do rankings here, so I'm pro rankings. But don't lean on them too heavily. It shouldn't be the focus. The focus should still be the emotion. You know, that's the focus still. That's what it's all about, really, is the emotions. Not the numbers, not the rankings. It's the emotion and very close second, the belts. Yeah, you got to have stories. You have to have stories. People won't care without stories, and they shouldn't be expected to.
Mm-hmm. I care without with stories, but I think I'm the exception to the rule.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like stories. Doesn't have to be a complex story.
Mhm.
It can be a simple story, but just give us stories. Simple disputes will work.
So you think they're going after vengeance first before belts, more belts? Because their whole promo was about how they were going to go after belts.
Well, that's the bad
and
guys.
less about vengeance.
Well, that's the bad guys. The Undisputed Kingdom are going after belts.
No. The promo the promo that the Acclaimed and the Bang Bang Gang.
Oh, their
did
promo
this
was
week
about belts.
Was about belts.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So that made it seem like that's where this question came from. Because I was
because that's how we measure success.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're winning against the Undisputed Kingdom, that's how we measure success.
Mm-hmm.
Who has the most belts?
I see.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, right now they're already winning. They have 6.
Who they?
The Bang Bang Scissor Gang has 6 belts.
Yeah, which is very odd.
Yeah.
That they did that. And like Santos said, yeah, we need more story in AEW. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And they made some nice inroads here in the last few months, but we need more story. Yeah. You can't just throw on a random match, this guy and this guy, and expect us to care, because then I don't care. And then what's the fucking point? Why are we watching it? I mean, don't get me wrong, I still care because I like wrestling. I like a wrestling match. So I still care. But most viewers don't and shouldn't be expected to. So give them a reason to care. Give them a story. And me, myself, like I said, I want a story. I want a story too. It can be as simple as, that guy stole my jacket.
That's always your go-to example. What's with you in the jacket?
That guy stole my jacket. Simple. Bam. That could be a 2-month feud right there.
Have you had a jacket stolen? Is this some sort of like deep-seated resentment?
That guy stole my jacket.
You've been harboring
yes,
for
I have,
years?
actually.
Yeah. Really?
That guy stole my jacket. It could be a 2-month feud. Very simple. It just doesn't have to be all things like the devil. You know, Tony, you don't have to be racking your brain for all fucking night, man. It can be easy shit, you know? I saw you at the gas station and you called me a bastard and you drove off. You're the bastard. I'm gonna get you. Bam. It's easy, man. It's easy.
Sounds good.
Don't make it hard. Don't make it too hard.
All right. So what's up next?
What is up next?
You got the list.
It's time for the top. Top 5. It's the weekly AEW Top 5. Every week we sweat to bring you the weekly Top 5. We take in many different considerations, mostly who wins and loses matches, but many different considerations. And we formulate it with a custom formula that we'll never surrender, no matter what is done to us. We'll never reveal it. We will take it to our watery graves. And
you're really getting good at that now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the top 5. Let's get on with it.
Let's start with the women.
Women, top 5 women. Number 5 this week, barely breaking in, but she broke in. Anna Jay. She had that loss to Deonna Purrazzo, where she didn't look terribly bad. Number 4, Queen Aminata breaking in to the top 5, where she had a loss to Thunder Rosa, where she looked good. Number 3, Thunder Rosa breaking into the top 5. The first, breaking back into the top 5, I should say. That win over Queen Aminata on, what was that, Collision?
Collision, yeah.
Number 2, coming one spot up from number 3 last week, Deonna Purrazzo, with her win over Anna Jay on Dynamite. And number 1 this week, the AEW Women's World Champion, same as last week, number 1, Toni Storm. So number 1, Toni Storm. Number 2, Deonna Purrazzo. Number 3, Thunder Rosa. Number 4, Queen Aminata. Number 5, Anna Jay. You want to do teams or men?
Let's do men.
All right, men. Top 5 men. Number 5, Jon Moxley, who got that win over Shane Taylor on Collision. Number 4, Adam Copeland, who got the win over
Dante Martin.
Who was it? Dante Martin on Collision. Number 3, Daniel Garcia, who got that nice win over Buddy Matthews on, what show was that?
Collision.
Collision also. It was a match of the night on Collision.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, up 3 spots from last week's number 5, the TNT champion, Christian Cage. And number 1, same as last week's number 1, the AEW World Champion, Samoa Joe. So you got number 1, Samoa Joe. Number 2, Christian Cage. Number 3, Daniel Garcia. Number 4, Adam Copeland. Number 5, Jon Moxley. So now for the teams. Number 5, Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. They won a nice tag team match over Commander and Penta El Zero Miedo. Number 4, Private Party, who won a very good tag team match over Top Flight. Number 3, down 2 spots from number 1 last week, the World Tag Team Champions, Big Bill and Ricky Starks. Number 2, up 2 spots from last week, the World Trios Champions, The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. And number 1, first time they've ever been on the top 5, the new Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, Jay White and the Guns, Bullet Club Gold. So congratulations to them. So number 1, Jay White and the Guns. Number 2, The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. Number 3, Big Bill and Ricky Starks. Number 4, Private Party. Number 5, Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. And those are your AEW Weekly Top 5s. And up next for you, we have a segment we're going to call Continental Challengers. So we have, this new belt in AEW, the Continental Championship, that we went through all this trouble of having an awesome tournament, the Continental Classic, which was a classic. And now we're not doing much with it, frankly.
We've had one defense so far.
I've seen one defense of it, yeah. So let's get Eddie Kingston some challengers.
Who was that defense against? Do you remember? Was it Yuta?
I don't think so, was it?
I thought it was Yuta.
I go with your memory over mine.
Okay.
But let's get Eddie Kingston some more challengers. So that's what this segment is about. So Kay, give us some of who you think should challenge Eddie Kingston for his Continental Championship.
Well, I didn't put Yuta on my list because I thought he already challenged him. But if he hasn't, I would say Yuta would be a good choice.
Okay.
I got 5 listed, and Yuta not being one of them.
Okay.
Do you want me to just read all 5, or do you want to go back and forth?
Well, just read yours so I can think of mine.
Oh, okay. So I have Katsuyori Shibata.
Oh.
He's officially part of the AEW roster now. He's former Ring of Honor Pure Champion. He is a beast man in the ring, and I feel like he would bring some dignity to the titles. No offense to Eddie What's his last name?
Kingston.
Kingston. I was going to say Garcia, but I knew that wasn't right. Ray Phoenix, when he is not injured anymore, I feel like he didn't get to be in the Continental Classic. We had a shocking lack of luchadors representation.
Yeah, really.
In there.
What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. We had Andrade and Rush, but they're not really. They're just Hispanic. I don't know if they're really considered luchadors.
They say they're luchadors.
Okay. Well, anyway, Ray Phoenix, I feel like would be a really cool champion. I could see him with 3 belts and making it look good, you know. So I have lots of when they return from injury. Pac. I think that would be a great way to come back, like for him. And I also have Juice Robinson. I think for either of them, first night back, challenge Eddie to a match, take all 3 belts. I think that's a great way to return from a massive injury that's kept you out of the scene for a while and just put yourself right in the middle of things. And then my last pick is Daniel Garcia. I know he was in the Continental Classic, but Tony Khan has big things for him in 2024, according to Tony Khan, and I feel like this could be it.
Good list. Good challengers.
Thanks.
Good challengers. One of mine, definitely, I agree with you, Ray Phoenix. Yeah, he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. No doubt. When he's healthy, he should get a chance at that. And he could go all over the world. And that's what those belts should be about, is going all over the world to defend them. And he could go to Mexico and Japan and stay here in America and defend them. And that would be awesome if Phoenix had them. So Ray Phoenix, I'll go with that one. I will also say his brother, Penta El Cerro Miedo. Why not throw him in there? I'm also going to throw El Hijo del Vikingo in there.
You're just going to pick all luchadors.
And what if I am? What's wrong with that?
Not a very diverse list is all I'm saying.
I'm also going to throw Commander in there because I think he deserves a shot at some things. He has the AAA Cruiserweight title, but why not give him a chance at getting 3 more belts? And so he could carry 4 belts around. So I think all these luchadors deserve more than what they've been given lately.
He's such a tiny man. Can you imagine him with 4 belts? Like,
yes.
Alex Abrahantes would have to carry at least 2 of them.
Yeah. And for my 5th, I will pick a non-luchador. I'll say Jon Moxley. I think Jon Moxley would do very well with the Continental Championship. And, of course, representing AEW abroad in Japan and in Mexico.
Cool.
So there are some challengers for Eddie Kingston. Let's get it going.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of those would make great matches, right?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Let's get it fucking going. So those are your Continental challengers. So
if you guys have any ideas, feel free to throw them in the chat, or if you're watching this not live, throw them in the comments. We'd love to hear what some of your ideas are.
Yeah, who deserves a shot at the Continental Championship?
Or who do you think should win it? Like, not just what matches do you want to see Eddie have to face, but who do you want to see be the one to take it all?
Right. All right. So up next we have a fun segment. This is called Wrestling Fashion Do's and Don'ts with Kay Fabulous. It's all about wrestling fashion and what's hot and what's not.
Oh, wait, no.
Do.
If you have an updated name like Killswitch, do get a super spiky update to your shoulder pads. They were huge.
Do.
If you are the live video editor of AEW, do mistakenly show Toni Storm in color briefly so that we can see her beautiful pink and black vintage robe. We only get to see her in black and white, so we don't normally get to see how awesome her vintage clothing is, and we got to see a little sneak peek.
Don't.
If you're a tough mogul, don't let the AEW Glam Squad give you two black eyes like Swerve.
Do.
If you are the father of us all, do wear the most fatherly garment, a sleeveless turtleneck like Christian Cage.
Don't.
If you are supposed to be the baddest faction on the block, don't wear t-shirts with beaten up cartoon characters on them like the Blackpool Combat Club.
Do.
If you are a virtuosa, do dress like one by wearing a capelet with long beaded fringe like Deonna Purrazzo.
Don't.
If you're a rated R superstar, don't show up to work in your pajamas like Adam Copeland.
Do.
If you're the Ring of Honor six-man champs, do color coordinate like the Mogul Embassy with their red and white gear. Bullet Club Gold, take note.
Do.
If you are a badass luchador, do have an elaborate dragon on the side of your mask like Penta.
Do.
And to celebrate your return to singles wrestling, do go all out with gold pieces added to your face paint and wear a personalized beaded and sequins robe like Thunder Rosa. And that is it for the fashion for this week.
Thank you, Kay. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get the word to the wrestlers.
Mm-hmm. As you should.
Yes. And they will know what is hot and what is not.
Well, really, it's just good life advice, you know?
For us to take
for us,
to take to the streets.
If we are those things, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
if you're the toughest mogul, don't wear two black eyes with
Yes.
paint on your face.
So you said the Glam Squad talked Swerve into doing that? You don't think Swerve did that himself?
I don't know. Well, AEW, that's what they call their makeup team, is the AEW Glam team. I don't know if they use the word squad. I use the word squad. I follow them on Twitter and Instagram. I know they do all the women's makeup, so I assume they do the men's makeup too. So I don't know. I can't say for sure that that's who it was, but that's who I was holding personally responsible for that terrible decision.
I feel like we've seen him do that before.
We have.
Yeah.
But it was like darker and bigger this time than it has been in the past.
Yeah.
Because before he's just looked like super tired rather than like someone punched me in both my eyes.
Yeah. Santo says he loves that segment. Thank you, Santo.
Thanks.
One of the new ones. Thank you. All right, and now it's time for the AEW News Roundup. Is it just this page?
Yes, there was not a lot of news this week.
Not a lot of news this week. On Talk is Jericho, Deonna Purrazzo explained her decision to leave TNA, saying she felt she had done all she could do in the company, and it was time to move on. Britt Baker helped arrange talks with Tony Khan. Dustin Rhodes says he will be, quote, pissed if Cody isn't in the main event at WrestleMania 40, saying, quote, this is Cody's time. I don't like to talk WWE on this show, but yeah, he's damn right. I totally agree. Cody should be in the WrestleMania 40 main event. Yes.
You proved that for the news, though.
Saying
I asked you if we could put that on the news, even though it was WWE.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he should totally be in the main event of WrestleMania 40. Yes. Roman versus Cody again. Cody wins this time. I don't care what they do in the other match. I don't care if The Rock's there or not. I don't care what The Rock does or doesn't do. Roman versus Cody again. Cody wins. AEW Collision and Battle of the Belts 9 ratings were down against the NFL playoffs, of course. Collision averaged 400,000 viewers. Yikes. Down 0.5% from the previous week. Drew a 0.10 rating in the 18 through 49-year-old demo. Down 23.1% from the previous week. Yeah, the NFL playoffs tended to crush them there. Battle of the Belts was the second lowest viewership of the 9 shows. With the 1-year anniversary of the tragic passing of Jay Briscoe, Mark and the Briscoe family were honored honored him on AEW Dynamite. Black Taurus reached a deal with AEW and Ring of Honor. He will likely not be able to use the Black Taurus name, however, because AAA owns the rights to it, and they object to its continued use. But the wrestler will be coming to AEW, so that's cool.
I hope he gets to keep the mask. That's so awesome.
Say what?
His mask that he wrestles in is like giant Taurus mask.
You think he'll get to keep the mask, but not the name? I don't think he'll get to keep the mask.
That sucks. That mask
But
is so cool.
Very talented guy. Whatever name he goes by, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Mexican legend. AEW Dynamite this week drew its best 18 through 49 demo since Grand Slam. The episode averaged 891,000 viewers, up 12% from last week. Got a .33 rating in the 18 through 49 demo, up 14% from last week. Pretty good rating for Dynamite.
It beat the NBA.
Yeah, beat the NBA. So, good one. All behind Samoa Joe versus Hook.
Mm-hmm.
That really got some talk going. Tony Khan, of course, announced the return of AEW rankings. He says they will be brought back starting this month. But as you know, ours have been going for over a year, so you know who to trust. Kenny Omega will have to wait several weeks before finding out if he needs surgery due to the severity of his diverticulitis. According to Dave Meltzer, it is a 7-week wait. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, normally they would do surgery right away, but his case was so severe that it was inoperable. And I guess it's, according to Meltzer, it's going to be 7 weeks before they can know if they're going to operate or not. So he's got a long recovery ahead of him.
At least 2 months with no Kenny Omega, and then recovery time.
Yeah, so we will
3
not
months.
see him at Revolution.
Yeah, no.
That's
I knew we wouldn't see him at Revolution, yeah. Well, folks, that's the show for this week. We hope you enjoyed it. I didn't have a little comedy segment this week. I'm sorry. I couldn't think of anything funny. I apologize. But hopefully we'll have one next week if I can think of something funny. That's the way I'm going to try and leave you, but I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to force it if it doesn't come. So I'm going to try and leave you with something funny every week, though.
Do you want to tell them what's coming up on Sunday?
So, yes, Sunday. We are watching, if you stick with us, we do Retro Wrestling Watch-Along every Sunday at 12:45. And it's myself, Kay Fabulous, and Dylan of the Last Week in Wrestling podcast. Jesus. And we watch classic wrestling shows. And, of course, the Royal Rumble is Saturday, so we'll be wrapped up with the Royal Rumble. That's all old news. So we're heading into the month of Elimination Chamber, but we're also heading into the month of Sting's retirement match. So we're going to alternate classic Sting matches and classic Elimination Chamber shows. And we're starting out with a classic Sting match. So Sunday at 12:45, we're going to watch NWA Clash of the Champions 1, featuring a classic match between Ric Flair and Sting, their first meeting.
This is Surfer Sting, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good match. Very good match. So 12:45 on Sunday. Come meet us. We'll talk about the card for a little bit, and then right at 1 o'clock we'll start the show. It's available on Peacock. Again, Clash of the Champions 1. NWA. It'll be under the WCW feature, probably under Clash of the Champions.
And if you can't meet us on Sunday, you can always go back and watch it find it on our YouTube channel.
Yep. And of course, we will be back next week, Monday, live right here, 6 p.m. That's our time slot. Mondays at 6, live on YouTube and on X or Twitter, whatever you call it. And Kay, do you have anything to say to the nice people?
Just thanks for joining us, and thanks for adding your comments in the chat. We love to hear from you guys. And we look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, share your comments. Talk to us on Twitter. Talk to us online. We would love to hear from you. Whatever you have to say, as long as it's nice. Don't be an asshole.
It's good life advice.
Yeah. As long as you're being nice, we would love to talk to you. But yeah, that's it. And as Mick Foley would say, thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, as Mick Foley would say, have a nice day. Bye.